Hi Flosstube, it's Lynn, the Canadian Stitcher. I have a weekly update this week and also a 100 subscriber giveaway prize to draw for. So first of all, I wanted to say thank you again to everybody who subscribed and left nice comments with likes, and it's been really nice to start learning this. So shout outs to, so what I did is as I'm going through, I'm subscribing to a whole bunch of people, and it's coming in either the order I put them in or alphabetical. And there's just so much great content out there, I can't get to all of it. So I watch it as much as I can, and I'm kind of trying to go through some of them in either the order that they were first put in to my subscription list or alphabetically. And eventually I want to get caught up on everybody, so on Saturdays when I sit down to stitch, I can just look at what your last video was. So if I don't give you a shout out yet, it might be that I haven't gotten to your video yet. So Pip Stitch, Philip, I think he's in the UK. Stitchy Witch 42, that's Audrey in Oregon. A Stitch Too Far, Ingeborg. Just Keep Stitching with Pam and Stephanie. You probably all know them. They're very funny to watch. And also Kay's Cross Stitch, so hi to Kay. Last week I asked you to let me know where you're living in the world, if you wanted me to put a pin in my map for you. So I do have my world map, and I just want to show you the progress on that. So there's been put in quite a few flags, pins. Oh, one sticking out through the back. I just poked my finger. So I have one here in New Zealand. I have a little list here. So in no particular order, there's New Brunswick in Canada, Napanee, Canada, Silverton, Oregon, Indiana, the Netherlands, Teresa P. in Edmonton, you probably can't even see that, sorry, Meowme in Zachary, Louisiana, Brenda H. in Las Vegas, Nevada, Sabine Stitch and Wrap in Nuremberg, Germany, way over there. Donna J. Bell River, Ontario. Lisa C. in Frankfort, Connecticut. Nina H. from the Netherlands. Joanna C. in Hamilton, New Zealand. Anita V. in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Fiddle Jenny Stitches in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Lynn B. in Missouri. And Sandy B. in Vermilion, Ohio. So it was kind of fun because I had to Google a lot of the cities and find out exactly where they are, so I can put your flag in the right spot. So I'll keep doing that. I'm going to call this little project that I'm doing, Where in the World Are You? And then you can answer me. If you want to use your cross stitch name, you don't have to give me your name. You can just say what state or city or whatever you're from, so I can put a pin in my map. It's been kind of fun. Last video I did some FFOs, and I had forgotten to show this one. It's kind of banged up, but this was the first cross stitch picture I ever made. I had moved up to a little small town in northeast Alberta, and I was a knitter at the time, and everybody there, when we were working night shifts, and I'm a nurse, so we worked night shifts. When it wasn't busy, we would pull out our stitching. They would pull out their stitching. So I had said to my roommate, would I be able to learn that? Like, is that possible for me to do that? And she said, can you count? And I said, yeah, I can count. She goes, then you can do cross stitch. Well, really, that's what it comes down to, is just making little X's or straight lines for the back stitching. There's some specialty stitches, but a lot of it's just basic counting and making X's. So this was the first project that I had made. This is what I learned on. This was hung up in my kids' rooms too when they were, babies and small children, and then it got sent down to the basement, and I think it got kind of banged up a little bit on the frame, but it's kind of funny to pull this out and look at it. I thought it would be absolutely terrible, like compared to where or how I stitch now, and I look at it, it's really not that bad. Like, I think I did a pretty good job for my first picture. So I do have one haul item, and that is another one fairy to go along with my little fall and winter collection. I'm going to try and find the one with the, I think it's Fairy Tale or something like that. It's with a lady on a horse with a bunch of little elves and things around her. I did see one place where I think I can get it, but this is just, I had placed an order to Amazon for some Christmas gifts and I saw this, so I thought I'd add her into my collection. So this is Spring Fairy by Ruth Sanderson, again, and it's a Dimensions Gold kit. And I got this, like I said, from Amazon. Weekly progress. I did work on Long Dog Sampler number 4 at work. On my breaks, grab a sip of water. On Friday, I only got to put a couple stitches in her because the rec therapist had gotten a donation of a big bag of yarn, and she said she didn't know what she could do with it all. So I said, if you arm knit some scarves, or teach them, the residents, to arm knit some scarves, you'd use that whole bag up in no time at all. And she didn't know what arm knitting was. She's not a knitter. A couple of years ago, I had started doing that arm knitting. There's some really good tutorials on YouTube. So Friday, on our lunch break, I sat with her and I showed her how to do an arm knitted cowl scarf. Both of us ended up making disastrous mistakes. I dropped a stitch and it unraveled, and then when she went to cast off, she did something. I think she took it completely off of her wrist and hers started to unravel it too. At some point, you just can't salvage it if it starts to rip too far down. So sometimes I can with hand knitting, but not so much with the arm knitting. So we both ended up ripping out our projects, but I told her to go back to the video on YouTube and see how to do it again. They're really easy to do, and they're big, chunky, nice, warm scarves. So Friday I only put in a few stitches on the Long Dog Sampler. I did do a little bit more on Siren and the Shipwreck after I made my last video last weekend. Filled in more down here on her tail with the purples and blues. So, and now she's put away for a little while. On timeout, I guess is what some people say that they're doing. And then I did work on my Heaven and Earth project. This is my magnetic board, which looks really cluttered. Sorry, just give me a second. There we go. So I'm working on pages 39 and 40, and then the 2 pages, the partial pages that are below that, page 46 would go there, and page 47 will go here when I get further down in there. So I don't think I even made it halfway through this page this week. I don't know. I've been going to bed early. Been really tired, so I would only stitch until from the time I would get home, and for some reason I was always hung up getting home this week, and I wouldn't start stitching until about 5:30 or so, and I'd stitch for 2 hours and go to bed. So I'm gonna put her back into the rotation. I'm not going to be working on her in the next little while. So plans for next week are, I'm going to be doing a new start on Friday. That's December 21st, the first day of winter. And it's going to be, I showed this already, this is the Woodland Enchantress by Ruth Sanderson, Dimensions Gold Collection. And here comes that cat. He ripped my map last week when he was crawling around on there. So that'll be my first day of winter, new start. Monday, I'm going to be working on the Busilla, whoopsie, I'll cover up the designer's face. Busilla Donna Dewberry, this is called Rosebud Wreath. Just a really simple little one. I needed a couple of smalls in my rotation so that I can get some finishes, because not only do I like to start, but I also like to finish projects. So this is only a little tiny bit of progress that I had made the one day when I started on it. So that's Monday. Tuesday is going to be the Christmas Goose. This is designed by Gloria and Pat. This is a Jan Lynn chart. I had gotten this one a long time ago when Jan Lynn was one of the things that I did have access to through that magazine, Mary Maxim. I don't know if they're still around, that company, or not, but when I was living up in, not northern Alberta, but further north than I live now, there wasn't a cross-stitch store there. We just order stuff off of Mary Maxim, or that was pre-internet too, so that's how we would get our patterns. So I had worked a little tiny bit more on this one. Oh, it goes this way. This is the part of the goose there, so that one is going to be Tuesday's project, Christmas Goose. Wednesday is going to be that little, I'm telling you, he laid right down on my pile of stuff here. It's going to be the Thomas Kincaid Paint Victorian Garden 2 Lamppost Vignette. So this is a pre-stamped one. I do have, I think about probably halfway done the stitches on this one. If I worked on this one for a solid evening, I probably would get it finished. Sorry for the noise. And Thursday is going to be the cross-country stitching cranberries picture, and that is October 2003's edition. And I only have a little bit done on this, so I'm going to work on that one on Thursday. And then, like I said, Friday is going to be the Woodland Enchantress, and then another new start on December 21st is going to be the North Wind Owl on the 24th. So for this video, I wanted to kind of talk about how I prepare to stitch from a kit. So there's a lot, I mean, thousands of kits available. So I think for anybody, you could find pretty much every subject to stitch on. So what I do, before I start, I create a working copy for myself. This might be the original. No, this is a working copy. So I stitch from paper. I don't do it on a computer. I'm used to this, and I like doing it this way. So take these, when they're these big sheets like this, I take them to Staples and they photocopy them on the big photocopier. These ones also have the symbols on them here at the side. So I always create a working copy first, prep the edges of the fabric, and on an earlier video I showed you that I use Fray Check, and I don't sew when I don't have a serger, so I just use that product called Fray Check, and I go the four sides of the fabric. And then from there, depending on how big the project is, so I learned that the super big ones, and I forgot to show you the progress on my HAED. I'm trying to get better at this, guys, I'm serious. So this is the progress I made this week with the Heaven and Earth Design Discovery sheet. That's this one right here. So for this one, the fabric is just way too big to put onto a scroll rod. I only have smaller scroll rods, and I tried putting in a Q-snap, and there was no way. There was just too much fabric there. So I'm doing that one, as I showed you, on a section in a small hoop, and then I take the hoop off when I'm done. So you need to decide when you're stitching whether you want to do it stitch in hand, use a hoop, a Q-snap, scroll rods, whatever your preference is. And then I separate and bobbinate the floss according to the colors that are given in the kit. So this one I've already got ready for my new start, and everything's on bobbins. And then I wrote on them what the color number is for each one. And I showed you before that I like to have one section in my floss box for each separate color. This one, the North Wind Owl, does have blended threads in it too. So I have a separate little box that once I've got the two strands for the blended, I make a label for inside here that's the blended of these two colors, and then I just put that blended bit of floss. Lucy's gonna knock over my camera, I swear. Stop. He didn't bug me at all in the first couple of videos. I think he didn't know what I was doing, and now he knows. So he's trying to get in on the action. Oh. And then, as you know, I set up a magnetic board, and then I just decide whether I'm going to be starting in the middle or the top corner, which I don't tend to do, or the bottom left corner. So for me, it's either left, lower, or middle. set up the magnetic board, and then I use highlighters. I've showed you that, and on that Heaven and Earth design I highlight with yellow, and then once I've what the stitches that need to be done, sorry, and then when I've completed the stitch I highlight with either pink or orange. I find I can't see the blue, the green, and the purple very well, so I tend to use those ones more if I'm marking off where I've backstitched to keep track of my backstitch. Yeah, so that's all. I pretty much always highlight, unless it's well, even if it's a color chart, if I make a photocopy of it, I'll find some way to mark off what I've completed. It's easier for me to keep track that way. So I'm going to be doing the 100 subscriber giveaway, and all of the names of the people that told me where they lived, I'm putting them in the draw. So I've got this little, everybody's name on little pieces of paper, and I'm just going to pick out one. And it is Sandy B from Vermilion, Ohio. So congratulations, Sandy. You get the Country Christmas cross-stitch kit with all the floss and fabric. And it's got a red frame with it too. So all you need is a piece of glass for it if you want to frame it with glass. So Sandy, just contact me by private message so I can get your address, and then I can ship this off to you. I didn't say it in my other video, but I'll say it now, that you, with this, you're actually going to be getting a little box of goodies from me as a great big thank you for subscribing and commenting on my channel. So Sandy B, Vermilion, Ohio, please contact me by private message. If I don't hear from you by, I'm going to give it probably December 28th, I will redraw again. I'll leave these names in this little bowl, and I will redraw it again when I do my video on Sunday, December 30th. If Sandy doesn't contact me, I'll draw another name. So stay tuned for that. And thank you very much for your likes and comments, subscribes. It really means a lot to me. Have a good week. Bye.